Okay. Uh, hello. Very good evening. Thanks for joining today's session. Today we are going to see like various like what are the linked servers, elastic pools, how we need to create the elastic pools, how we need to remove the elastic pools. Is there any formulas for elastic, and what are the serverless databases, and what are the Azure database limitations, and what is TLS, and how we need to configure alerts, and if time permits we can see the alerting as well. Okay, first of all, like linked servers. So what is mean by linked server is we can link one SQL server with another SQL server. That is not linking, right? So using from one SQL server, we are doing query of another SQL server database. That is what mainly linked server means. Now here one thing is from I like on-prem SQL server. From on-prem SQL Server, you can configure Azure SQL database as a linked server, but vice versa is not possible. Okay, here you are seeing that I am connected to my on-prem SQL server. Okay, now coming to replication here, server objects, linked server. Right click on that new linked server. Here type you can type any name Azure SQL database and keep that. Okay, now I want to connect. Sorry, now what I want to connect is demo text serial one. Come here and product name of anything Azure SQL data source you have to, and you have just leave it as it is. Come here security. Here you need to mention the username, password. Okay, coming to here, you need to enable data access. By default, it is be true. If any case it is been false, you need to set it to true. And RPC out and RPC is RPC stands for remote procedure call. So it means if you want to execute that stored procedures from remotely, then you need to enable these stored procedures, these two parameters. Click OK. Which one we are doing here? Will be written a message network related error. Why? So at least I will check whether I am able to connect or not from this. Come to networking here. 1 minute. Okay. I think I have done some. Okay. I will see the linked servers. I have done some experiment. Okay. And selected pools is okay. And everything is okay, right? Why I am unable to connect? Okay. I will create one more for demo. Here I am having, right? I will see. First, I will go here. Yeah, this is working fine. So now what I will do here is coming to networking. I will add this IP, click save so that it will not ask what is the username here. Sha only, right? Yeah. Now I am able to connect here. Now what I will do, I will remove the old one. So I am facing the issue. Right click on that, new. Here type any name, Azure SQL database. Keep the old DB server and your name can be anything. Data source, sorry, SQL server name. For example, we are connecting to directly to the master. If you are trying to connect to the master, then no need to mention any database name. If you want to connect any particular database, then you have to mention those databases here. Now coming to security, and we are okay, and we will see this. Yeah, it got created. Now go to the properties. You want to execute the store procedure, just enable this to click OK. Now click test connection. Now we have successfully configured Azure SQL database as a linked server. If you expand this, you will get all the databases one by one. Okay. So this is what how we need to configure a linked server in real time. In interview, they might ask you like, are you able to configure on-prem link any linked server to Azure SQL database? No, we cannot do that. Okay, Azure SQL database can be added as a linked server to on-prem SQL server. Okay, so now we will see the elastic pools. Okay, and coming to here now, what I now yeah. Uh, Go to Alex database here. Why elastic pools comes into picture? I will show you. Let's see what's the official document is saying that. Okay. For example, let's assume that here we are having four databases. Okay, if you take the DB1 database, in the DB database at 12 o'clock, it is jumping to 10 DTUs. After 10:05, it is hitting to 50 DTUs. After 12 to 10 minutes, it is taking to 19 minutes, 90 DTUs. After that, it will came down by from 12 to 12:15, it will came to 50 DTU. After that, it will continuously using only 10 DTUs or more less than that. See here we don't have any uh, like uh, continuous utilization of database. Oh, one particular movement it needs some high DTUs. That's it. So if you consider all the databases will be like that only. If you are having this kind of situation, if you go with the individual databases, then you need to pay for every database. Okay, here for example, my database is 90 here. If I go for with four databases, I need to give four 90s DTU separately. So it is very cost consuming, right, for us. So what the Microsoft has done is they have come with the new elastic pool concept. Okay, now click on elastic pool. Okay, elastic pool name is like you can give that e pool. So what is this you want to configure the size? I will go with the standard. So right now I want to give the 100 DTUs and max database size is 50 GB. Click apply, review and create. See, as of now, I have created one elastic pool with the 100 DTUs with 50 GB maximum size. Once it is got created, we will see how we can. Meanwhile, I will add one more database, basic database. Okay. So here backup storage redundancy. See here what happened means um, in if you go with the local zone redundant option, what will happen here? In one particular place, for example, if you consider Mindspace, there are n number of buildings, right? So in the same building, in different servers, it is going your backups are going to get copy. Let's assume that if your whole building got collapse, your backups is also will get collapse. Zone redundant means okay, within within geographical area but different location, your backups will get copied. Each geo means here we have different. For India we have another geo redundant location somewhere location some other country, right? So our backups will be there in the another country. If one, for example, like right now war is going on in Ukraine, right? If anything happens to that country, but still your backups are like available, so that you can use geo restore option to restore your databases. Okay, so that is what backup storage redundancy. So now click review. Why for basic this much of cost? Okay, I will go with the local. So as of now I am going to create in my databases. In my instance I am having two databases, right? So what I will do here is I will go to the demo test 07. Okay, and if we go with the SQL Elastic Pools here. So right now I'm having a one EDTUs, right? So here they will ask you what is EDTU. When you configure in the configure like DTU or EDTU are like same, but it will expand that, right, as per their workload. That's the reason we are calling it as a EDTU. ED means elastic. In the interview you might get question. Okay, right now if you want to add, as of now there are no databases in that. If you want to add, you just configure that. Okay, come to databases here, add database, see my old data like that, and click add. As of now like I have added one database in that. If you don't want to okay, you just select the database, what are the database that you don't like to add, and just click remove. And here we have one option. See what will happen if I these databases fully utilize. We can control. Okay, as of now, if, for example, one database is continuously hitting 100 videos. What will happen to for other databases? They will encounter an timeout issues, right? So we can restrict. Okay, here why? Or still it is deploying, right? So let's wait. If I do databases, as of now, there still it is adding. Okay, like see, like this it up to minimum 10 database. It like see every database will get 10 DTUs by default, and it will expand to up to 50 DTUs. So like that you can restrict it the peak utilization of every each and every databases in the Elastic pool. If I If I do see, as of now, I'm having only one database and that average utilization is, yeah, zero only. So if you don't like the for example, one database is continuously hitting 100% of DTUs, and this that database is entirely destroying the concept of elastic pool, then you can remove that. Click and remove from the pool. Okay, and click save, it will get removed. Okay, so that is what elastic pool means. Here, if you have this kind of scenario, then only it is recommended. Otherwise, it's always better to keep other databases as a separate databases. For this, we have one formula. Where is that? Okay, the formula is like max total number of databases into average utilization per database, comma number of concurrently peaking database into peak DTU utilization per DB. In simple words, I am having five databases, and on average each database utilizes 10 DTUs. So in addition to, only two databases are concurrently hitting 20 DTUs. So if I include this number, I will get 50/40. Now in the 50/40, what is the maximum? 50, right? So now if I have this kind of scenario, my directly I can configure one elastic pool with 50 DTUs, and we can move all the databases to elastic pool. If you are not aware and if you are very sensitive for the billing, this is the one of the formula to create elastic pool. Okay, and coming to that, and yeah, Azure means nothing but like very like billing only, right? So as of now, I don't, I required only 6 hours of database, or I need only for 6 hours. Apart from that, I don't require any connections, or I don't know that. But even though if I don't use, but still I need to pay. For if you have this kind of worries at all in for Azure SQL databases, so Microsoft has given one option called serverless database. Okay, so here from 8 a.m. to up to 2 o'clock. Okay, or to that 23 means 2, I think 2 something. Okay, so at from 2 to they are like one connection. After from 0 1 to this much of time, I don't have any connections, zero connections, right? When you have a zero connections per particular time to, I mean, it here from 0 to 4 o'clock, I don't have one single connection as well. For this period you no need to pay anything. Okay, so it is absolutely free. When you, after that, for example, for 5 o'clock, if you start the SQL server, first it will get fail, the first connection will get fail, and the second connection will we will you are able to connect. Why? Because it is always similar like to the always on past database. Okay, we have like auto close option right here. If I go here databases, now if you see, select star from sys.databases, and if I see name, see all the databases and auto closing by default is disabled. Okay, what will happen if you enable auto close? All the connections or pages will get moved to the will remove from the buffer cache. So when the first you try to connection, it will get fail, and you have to use retry policy in the connection string from the application if you are using that, so that the no need the no the application developer will not get worry. Why? Because first connection will get failed, right? This is the default behavior. Okay, and if you want to configure this thing automatically, what will happen? You are going to set the maximum and minimum. Okay, like sorry. what will happen, right? So if I see here, even though in this like minimum vcore, minimum in the vcore is 0. V vcpu, okay, and maximum up to like 10 vcores, okay, for particular duration of time. For example, you work the workload is increasing, right? It will go to up to 1 2 3 4 like that. So how much fee course that you are using at that time, you have to pay for, at the for that fee core only. And it like that, it's all depending, it's all automatically it will go to the up to 10 fee course. So this is what auto scaling means in serverless, okay. And if I go here, go to SQL Server, Azure SQL Server, demo text, create database. See here, in the general purpose, we have serverless and provision. What will happen here in the serverless? Computer are auto scale and billed for per second and based on the vcore used. But here we are getting hour based, okay. And coming to I want to go with serverless here, maximum 10 cores. What this is like max here. Oh, now it was previously it was in the 1.5 month it was is like 0. 0.5. Now it was like 1.25 vCores. Okay, sorry. Okay. Now if you select the maximum vCores and it will minimum vCores also will get change here. That's like vice versa. Uh, okay. Now it was I'm right now I'm selecting 4 vCores and minimum vCore is like 15. It means even though if you are not using, you minimum billing is like for 0. 0.5 vCores. And what will happen if no connections are there, all the inactive connections it will get, okay, automatically the database will go into pass mode, okay, like with no connections it will go like if you want to it was very too much you can set like for 10 minutes. If no connections will be there, auto was delay, okay, 1 hour, 1 hour minimum is 1 hour. Okay, within no connections, it will go after into pass mode. No further connections will be entertained. Click apply. So it will your serverless database will get created. Now I need to serverless. Now I have created the serverless database. Before we are opting for like serverless database, we have some limitations. So we have to make sure that we are not falling into that limitation. Directly I cannot go and configure because of like billing. Mainly what will happen here, we need to see the response here. See, now what are the most of these sessions, okay. For example, what will happen, I will open a new connection and I will disconnect here, okay. Now I minimize. It doesn't mean that I have closed all the sessions. Okay, always the connection should be zero. Number of sessions should be zero. Then only it will go to the auto pass mode. Okay. Now, if you are using geo replication, it will not support the database will not go into pass mode. So even though they are not connections, you have to pay the bill for minimum vCodes. Long-term retention, if SQL data sync, elastic jobs, if you have these kind of features, if you're already using, then it will not go into pass mode. Then there is no point of opting for serverless for you. And sometimes the database the database in pass mode and you are doing something in the portal, okay, and that kind of if you do anything in the portal, like for example, if I go to the home, I have enabled Microsoft Defender, okay. If I enable Microsoft Defender on the portal, so if you enable that, automatically the past database which is already there, that will came into online, See, this is the, if you enable auditing, the database will came online. Masking all the function. If you enable TDE, then it will come. If you enable auto tuning also, it will sync everything. Like, okay, even the database will came online. Okay, it will not go into pass mode. Pass mode means sleeping mode. So you have to make sure that you have to make that, okay, if I perform these actions in the performance recommendations also in the portal as well, if you do that, the database came online. So this is how you need to make sure, you have to be aware. Okay, now here what it is saying that if database is passed, the first login activity and return said first connection will get failed with this error 40613. And what it is saying, if you are using this SQL client or .NET from it is like, it is not from SSMS, it is from application. If you see, you have to use the retry logic here. See, this is how you need to in the, if they are using slash, so this is how they have to implement the retry logic. Okay, and so this is what like serverless database. Now if I see here, see, this is how it looks. Same, there is no much difference. Okay, and if I, now we will go for limitations. Now, in general question, if you want to test their limitations as well, the what like, is it possible to connect to Azure SQL Server using Windows authentication? No. Why? Because it's even though it's a PaaS, it's look very similar to SaaS, right? So there is no with authentication, and there is no use statement as well. If I try to connect here, I cannot use this database name, right? Okay. Uh, Wait. I cannot use like use to switch the database, and but in on-prem we can do that, but here that architecture is different, right? That's the reason we cannot use this database. If you want to use directly, you can, you have to connect while connecting itself, or otherwise you have to change here using this button. And database diagrams are will helpful to see what are the relationships for all the database in one database that there in the on-prem SQL server. If I click here, something we have database diagrams, here, see, we have diagrams, right? Now if I go here, I will see, it will as of now I am having only one table in this. So if I have any relationships, it will show like that. Okay, so this is what database diagrams. It will helpful to analyze the relationships. No point in time restore, but SSMS files, but it will be there in the portal. CLR option is not available. No SQL agent. We all know that from every time we are seeing that we are not able to see any agent. For that, we have to use Elastic jobs and run jobs. We have multiple options. Okay, in for to replace that SQL agent. Doesn't support like distribution transaction. For example, you are trying one of table, like I'm trying to configure join statements, and one table is having in one database, another table is having one database. It kind of distribution transactions cannot be supported. Okay, and these are while creating SQL server, you cannot give these names. Why? Because these are reserved. Even though if you give, it will get an error. Okay, cross database queries and instance are four part name. What is mean by that? Okay, and that too in the current database and temp DB only it will support it. It means it is like three part name, select star from like instance name, comma database DB name, dot DB schema name dot table name. This is what called four part name. If you remove this, this is called three part name. Okay, if you are doing the same thing in the current database, it will support it. But if you want to do for another database, it will not support it. But for tempdb it will get supported. For example, right now in the master database and you are referencing to the tempdb, that kind of queries, if you have views, okay, in the your database, that will run if it is referencing to tempdb and this database. As of, if I go here now, okay, so I will connect to Lenovo server objects. Sorry. So I don't have anything here. Okay. So if we don't have, so like if you have anybody ask cross database queries will support it any three part name or like that, you have to know that current database current temp DB only it will support it. What is the cross database ownership? Like we have an option called trustworthy. If you want to execute some stored procedures, then we need to enable that trustworthy option, and it by default it will not be available. Execute as a login is not there. Instead of execute login, we have execute as a user. And BAK files are not supported, only backpack files, and you know high availability features except transaction replication with push subscriber, and no database snapshot, and only one primary um, file group only, and no time zone. What is the time zone? It will be there only UTC time zone only, and no DB email trace flags, like only full recovery model it will be there. In the in the interview they will ask you one thing: what is the full recovery model of Azure SQL database? What is the snapshot isolation level they are using? It is for full, it is full recovery model, and it is like read committed snapshot read committed snapshot isolation level, the default isolation level for Azure SQL database. Okay, and coming to back, every week one full backup will be happen. Every like differential every 24 hours it will be differential, and you can, if you want, you can configure for 12 hours, approximately 10 minutes. What is mean by approximately means, by default it will configure for 10 minutes. Okay, every 10 minutes the log backup will be happen as usually. But your your database is having more DML DDL DML statements. What will happen if we have your database log file will get increased, right? So if you have DML huge DML operations, so it will run as per it needed. Why? Because if your log file get full, no further transactions will get run, right? So it will check that, okay, database is log file is getting full, now I need to run immediately log backup. So that's the reason they said that as a approximately. So these are the Azure SQL database limitations. So why I am telling all of these limitations means sometimes, okay, they will in if you want to migrate some like your manager or your client will come. Asha, I am having one database. You want to migrate into Azure. So then what you will do, either you are saying that for example I'm my views are there, and my in the my views they are referencing other queries. So either we are falling or not in the limitations, we need to check that before moving to the Azure SQL database. Either we have to make sure that what are the other alternatives that we have. Even though cross database queries are there, if that not, we can remove that, or we can modify the queries accordingly. So this is how this is the for that purpose only we are discussing the Azure SQL database limitations. Okay, now we will see the like alerts. Okay, now I will go for this thing like SQL database, like I'll go for here I'm having alerts. Okay, as of now here I will create a, before that I need to create the action groups. Okay, like what is mean by action groups here is for whom I need to send the emails. Previously I used to create DBA team. In the DBA team, I have added my email address. This email address, Gmail address, I have added. So whenever I mention this DBA team, just like in on-prem, it will trigger, it will send to this emails to the all these emails. Okay, to this group. In this group right now, how many email IDs as of now? Currently we have only one, right? So it will go send the email to one resource group. Every time it will trigger it, we have to pay 8 rupees. I will show you. I will, okay, and come to here, come to alerts, alert rule. So what are the options that we are having means, if we are data percent space used, CPU percent, if my CPU is hitting 90% or 80% or 70%, so you will get one email so that you can check like what are the CPU high CPU consume, either any monitoring. If you want to do like that, you can do that. So I, as of now I select C signals. I will select this option. Okay, for to show you that. Next, select the DBA team, click OK. Next, alert room like a portal administrator. So as of now, anything you do in the portal for Arsha database, what will happen? It will trigger one email. Okay, like in the activity log, this have thing, anything it will get recorded here, right? See, whatever we do, you will get an email. If any alert when event entry comes here, it will trigger one email. As of now, what I will do here to trigger one email, I will export that this to this database. Okay, like Azure storage, select a SQL server authentication. So I have triggered one alert, right? So now we will see that whether it is there in the activity log. So as of now, it is not there. So once it is triggered, you will see the like email. And meanwhile, if I go with the overview, and if you see export done, that is done, right? If I go server, import history, see, like you can see the previous history, right? Okay. So as of now, it is 1%. Okay. Like doesn't mean that 1%, it will show 1 and 100. Apart from that, we don't see any progress in that. Okay, so once it is done, if you see any entry, okay, you will get an email how it looks like. As of now, I didn't see morning before coming to class. I think we got one alert. See, we got what this as of see March 29 13 EC. I got so many, right? Whatever see accepted. This is how you can configure alerts in SQL Server before like anything, like so like you have I want to you have to test that. So as of now I got 15 alerts. Okay, so now it got alert, right? Now I can go to the portal. I can see that what are the issues I have received. Now I click go to Azure SQL databases. Sure. Activity log. Okay. Now, so I showed you right how I got the alerts and everything. Okay, so now that is done. Now we will talk about the TLS one. What is mean by TLS? By default in the activity log, it will take time to list all the sessions. Okay, and don't worry about that. Now TLS. What is mean by TLS? Okay, TLS stands for transparent layered security. Now go to networking, come to private access connectivity. Yeah. Now we can see TLS one. What is mean by that means like we have a server and we have a client. For example, here I'm sitting. Here my database are away. Now in middle anybody can hack the our network packets, right? Hacker in the middleman. So if you want, if you have that kind of issues, you have a fear in like that, you can enable transport layer security, which is one of the trusted protocol. So nobody will hack that. Even though they hack, they cannot read the packet. Okay, so like that we have industry standards. 1.2 is the latest and security one. Okay, by default it will be there one like 1.2. For example, it will be like higher to lower to higher to lower is not possible. It means I'm using 1.0. It means all the connections will get succeeded from 1.1, 1.1, 1.0, 1.1 and 1.2. If I use 1.1, all the connections will 1 point from 1.1 to 1.2 will get succeeded, 1.0 will get fail. If I go with the 1.2, all the connections will get succeed, but from 1.2, the connections which are from TLS 1 1.0 1.1 will get fail. So how should I know which TLS point that you are using? For that, if you have to talk your application team who are you are using, if they don't know anything, don't worry. If we enable auditing in the database authentication succeeded event action name, we have called TLS version. Here I'm able to see 1.2. It means I'm right now my connect all my connections are from 1.2 application. So using this, you can directly enable 1.1 in your for your SQL server. But make sure that you always had a word with your application team before enabling this. Okay. Now we will go for the auditing. This is the interview question. How should I know like directly I can go for enable and TLS version? No, you have to check like this, and as well as you have to contact your application team as well. Why? Because at the end of the day they are only our end customers, right? Now auditing, if anything goes wrong, we required who is have for example somebody user has deleted the data or deleted the row or like anything like that, right? If you enable auditing, I will show you the auditing on that. Okay, come to storage. Okay, in auditing we can enable the log analytics, event hub and storage. Storage account is very similar, just like folder, and everybody will have an access. It means everybody can configure, and it is very thing. But for log analytics, we can just enable, but it is very difficult to retrieve the data. Why? Because we require Custo language. What is mean by Custo language? Same, just SQL only, but it will be, see, Custo query language. You need this. You need to learn this language to retrieve the data. That's the reason for administration purpose, like anything, it's one of the best practice to configure the auditing in storage. For demo purpose, I am configuring the auditing on the on the database level, right? Okay, I am enabling on the database level. If you enable on the database level, it will apply only for that database. Now auditing was enabled, right? Now what will happen? I will go to the query editor. I will create one table. Create table, table name. Uh, it is done, right? Now, if you want to see who are like utilizing that, just go to editing here, click or view audit logs. See, we are like able to see here. Now, if you want to, I'm not comfortable like this. You just run here, click at run editor. See, each and every select, delete every command, you are able to see that. Okay. So this is how you need to enable auditing for particular one database. Okay. So if you enable in the server level, every database will get recorded, right? That will your storage will get increased. And as yesterday said, like you, instead of SQL Server, you need to pay more for storage. Yeah, this is what like the solutions what I have prepared for tomorrow. It is very like whatever we discussed here is like somewhat look easy practically. Just one, if you see that we by seeing the on screen instructions we can follow that, but for tomorrow it is very important. I am going to show you private point to site connection, point to site, Azure VM, like private endpoint, service endpoint. Okay, like how we need to connect using. See, these topics are very critical. Why I mean to say, like in real time we are not going to do this for for our purpose only. We have to make sure like if we have to learn for troubleshooting or like anything, we should have some basic knowledge here. But okay, as a trainer I learn these things to teach for our DBS. Okay, like what will happen everything, like tomorrow it will take like 2 hours. Why? Because in the 2 hours we cannot sit directly. Why? Because for point to site we need to create VPN gateway. Okay, this gateway will take 45 minutes. Okay, tomorrow we have to take some breaks as well. Okay, once so tomorrow is very 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 crucial. I am telling again, please be available some make some free time, and we have to do the 2 hours in like in breaks. Okay, once it is done, and we I will show you how it is like very practical oriented, and it's very interesting too as well. Okay, yeah, that's it for today. And if you have any questions, and meanwhile I'm stopped the